I am thrilled and honoured to be involved in the inaugural meeting of the International Society for Comparative Education, Science and Technology of Nigeria. For me, the foundation of a Society of Comparative Studies is an important event. These days, in everything from business to academia, we're encouraged to think outside the box. Thinking outside the box has become a modern day cliche. But it's worth unpacking for a minute what that means. It implies that normally and every day we think inside the box. The way I think, the way you think, is constrained by our upbringing, our education and our culture. I, from my British box, think some things are natural and other things are impossible to understand, while you, from your French, Japanese, German or Nigerian box, think that the things that I do are stupid and that the natural way of doing things is the way that you do it. And by looking at studies cross-nationally, cross-culturally, cross-class, we come to an understanding of what the constraints are on other people's thinking. It's always easier to see what other people face in the way of constraints than to think about what constrains us ourselves. But if we are conscientious and if we are lucky, we sometimes get insights into what those constraints on our own thinking are. And in that process, we can hope to start to climb outside of the box. Rather than seeing things in a narrow British way, I can start to see things in a European way. I can climb out of the European box and start to see things from a broader cultural perspective. But it goes without saying that you never escape completely from boxes. You climb each time out from one box into another. And if I manage to climb out of a nationalistic, narrow box geographically, then I will still be inside a box methodologically. I'm a positivist, a structuralist, a post-functionalist, postmodernist. Some other box will constrain the way I look at education systems and indeed the way I look at comparison itself. So the establishment of a comparative education society or any other society of comparative studies is an invitation to start trying to climb out of the boxes we are in and to start the unending and impossible task of relieving ourselves from those constraints that we face. It's a hopeless, it's a forlorn, it's a quixotic task, but it's the best that we can do in terms of trying to understand ourselves and understanding other people. In the process, we're going to do much more than learn about each other's education systems and the way that our education systems prepare us for the world. We're going to learn about each other, we're going to learn about what we value, we're going to learn about the values that we hold most dear but don't normally notice. And in the process, we're going to have an awful lot of fun. I think for me, that's the crux of the matter. Comparative studies for me are the height of finding out the answers to those questions that we've always wanted to know the answers to. So I welcome you to join me in the journey towards self-discovery and learning that being part of this new comparative studies society will involve.